Hey guys, how's it going? Nick is here as always. In case you couldn't tell, I forgot the transporter for my mic, so I'm gonna have to be forced to talk into this phone. And with these waves in the background of the figure eight pool just south of Sydney a few hours, I don't know how the audio is gonna turn out, but hopefully good enough. So, coming from Chiang Mai to Sydney, it's been around 3 to 4 weeks that I have here in Sydney specifically. And I've been thinking about it a lot, specifically about business and personal time versus money worth and money value of starting up new projects. So in my last video, I talked about me wanting to basically dive into Shopify and drop shipping and fully learn Facebook ads, and it's just like I can balance my I can balance my Amazon with my Facebook ads with Shopify and everything together. But as I got here, I kind of came to a realization that I think at some point you go from extreme value of just money, just thinking like, man, I got to start more businesses, I got to keep working, to kind of shifting gears where an additional dollar or additionally, let's say a couple of $100 a month is not going to make as much impact as if you were to take some personal time for yourself and come out and see things like this where you don't often get the chance to, but since you're in the city or since you're in a certain locale traveling around, you might as well check it out. Chiang Mai, specifically the 6 months of it, a lot of time was spent in the co-working spaces where me, Ryan, Max, and Noam, the guys that I mentioned previously, we would just literally work Monday to Saturday building something up. Now, in the meantime, I learned a lot about Facebook ads. I learned a lot about drop shipping. And in the future, there's definitely going to be a time, in the very near future, like this year, there's definitely going to be a time where I will be starting another store. But that doesn't mean that you have to just grinding from project to project. I think following Professor Jordan Peterson's advice, which is a podcast that I would highly recommend to all of you. If you just search Jordan Peterson podcast, you'll find it. His advice is that too many people don't stop to think, like literally think about what they're doing every day. Just 15 minutes of so-called meditation, and I don't mean just a mantra, just sitting down, staring out into space and just either journaling or thinking in your head, going over what are you doing exactly. It could be work related, it could be family related, it could be your day-to-day activities and hobbies, but when was the last time you stopped and thought for 15 to 20 minutes, what exactly are you doing with your time given? And this is something that I've been thinking over a lot, and I know that the more I go into this business development phase of my life, the more kind of money I guess I'm making month to month, because you guys have been there since the beginning, since my very first sale on Amazon. The more I'm starting to reconsider that at a certain point there's a certain amount of money that you make that kind of makes you question, okay, maybe I should step back and reevaluate. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean that I'm completely giving up on business. It's just I'm allocating the Pareto's law properly, the 80-20. So the 80% of I would say probably 99% of my income comes from Amazon, which is really just, an hour to 2 hours. Could be a day, could be a week, depending on what phase I am, whether it's ordering, researching, or, optimizing my sales channel. And, I don't at first I was under the impression that, man, I have this Amazon thing figured out and I just want to dive right into this next project. But instead, after doing it for a couple of weeks and learning a lot, I stepped back, I closed down the Shopify that I was experimenting with, and now for the next 3 weeks I am taking time off specifically for visiting landscapes like this, but also a lot more journaling, a lot more meditating, a lot more just asking myself, what am I doing and what's the next thing? Because I'm starting to realize that if you're having just let's say five grand a month, and this is something that I've been saying previously, $5,000 a month passively is really all you need to just enjoy life. Like, you don't need more than that. But for me personally, I want more than that. I want to, reinvest and build other things. I don't want to just be sitting on my ass all my life just thinking, wow, well, I make 5 to 10 grand a month, I don't need to do anything anymore. So for me, I still have that inner drive, and that might change, at any point in the future. But for now, I think that the purpose of this video specifically is to kind of relay to you that I found it very beneficial, taking the time, the 15 to 20 minutes a day just to sit down and think, am I on the right path? What do I like to do? Coming up with my strengths, not really focusing too much on the weaknesses, but thinking how could I possibly allocate my strengths better and stop worrying about my weaknesses as much. Because this is another thing from the Jordan Peterson podcast, is that people that are internally focused tend to ignore the world outside of them, and they tend to just think, me, how does this affect me? How do I feel about it? And it tends to lead to a depressive state. Instead, try to live your life externally. Find out what other problems people are having. Find out what other experiences people have had, and how does it not necessarily relate to you, but how can that improve your experience and what you're doing. So my advice to you, as we are here at the very height of I believe it's called upper tide, or in tide of figure eight pool. I believe we're actually not really supposed to be here, but I hope you enjoy seeing me getting somewhat wet while I'm filming this with half of missing equipment. Is that I want to relay this to you, that it's really positive thing sometimes to slow down. Another great book that I can recommend is Thinking Fast and Slow. But to slow down and to really think about what it is that you're doing and where you're going, and do you really need more money? Which I think in a lot of cases, a lot of people are just starting out, which yes, you should be allocating your time to resource acquisition. But in certain cases in the future, when you start getting that $5,000 to $10,000 a month, maybe making more money is not the next immediate step. Maybe the next immediate step is to take 3 months off, go off to locations like this and just think about what is it that you're doing, and will it make you happy doing another kind of Amazon product or another drop shipping product. So I'll leave you with that before the tide completely swallows us up. And like I said, think about what you're doing, create a meditative practice, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much.